Good afternoon, my name is Cadet Bell, and this is my paragraph 1 brief. First off, this is our platoon task board. The task is to disrupt enemy forces in AO Ronin, to deny enemy influence on the battalion main effort. We're going to be first squad, we're that main effort. Second and third squad are supporting efforts. Fourth squad, that gun squad, weapon squad, is going to be split into two, gun team 1 and gun team 2. Gun team 1 will be assisting us in our main effort, and they have sustained 1 KIA. To get into our mission statements are pretty similar across the board. It's important for us to, I'll hit it this next slide. Our squad, what you guys need to pay attention to is to attack to destroy objective Phantom in order to deny enemy influence on the battalion. So we are going to be split in Alpha Bravo team, both having that M249 SAW, the 320s. Gun Team 1 is going to be with us, like I said, with that 240 Bravo. They're going to be helping us out in order to deny enemy influence on our squad. This is going to be the operations overlay. Our patrol base is located there. Our AO, Ronin, meets AO Amarok, where our Charger Company meets Alpha Company. And to the east, AO No Slack meets AO Ronin, where 2327 Infantry Regiment meets 15 Infantry Regiment. And our two phase lines, Alaska and Arctic, are going to be important for you guys to take note of, because that is how we're going to reach objective Phantom in the south part of our AOI. Route Camaro up to the north, not really high concern for you guys. Objective Ghost, again, not a high concern. The enemy is going to have a battery of howitzers located in the vicinity of our AOI. Their location doesn't really matter. What matters is their trigger time is 10 minutes if they ID a squad or higher. And there's also a motorized platoon with a trigger time of 40 minutes to our southwest, several clicks away. Location isn't so important, but they will come if they ID us in the coastal regions. The coastal regions being this mountain range to the east. What's important is the coastal regions, the rivers, and the streams that go throughout our AOI. And also there's a lot of elevation change, which creates that severely restricted and restricted terrain. Some more obstacles would be the streams, just because we're going to be having to move in maybe a file formation in some parts to get through that dense vegetation, because we're going to want to stay off the roads and trails, just because that's where the enemy motorized squads can navigate and use their optics and catch us out in the open. So we're really going to want to hammer home on the formations that we use. We've got a couple key terrains, K1 and K2. What's important for us is K2 because it's so close to the objective. However, it's going to be at a lower elevation. So it's not as important because they're not going to have a clear line of sight, line of fire at us. A lot of the line of fires and sights in the AOI come from that elevation change, but the objective is higher than K2. And there's also already an motorized infantry enemy squad on that village where K2 is. So you can see in this photo, that's that village. Our objective's up here. They're going to have to come up this terrain to get to us, and those switchbacks, it's just going to take a lot of time in their CSK 141s, which is equivalent to our striker. Our best avenue of approach is going to be avoiding the coastal mountain region, but avoiding this restricted terrain to the west. So we're going to go down. Once we hit this elevation change, we're going to stay up top. Just kind of ignore K2 unless we see that it's open. However, we want to get to the objective Phantom as fast as possible. The enemy can supply from the south side of that elevation change up the switchback, or they can even have people reserve that motorized platoon come from the southwest onto the objective. Again, this is another view at those switchbacks. This is the enemy situation for, let me hit on some weather. The precipitation is going to be around 70% on the day of, so those switchbacks are going to be very wet and muddy. Most likely their motorized platoons are going to be getting stuck. There's been precipitation all week, so we can assume that the conditions have worsened. The streams that they might have to cross to get to us are going to be hit pretty hard. Also, for our formations getting to the objective, we want to avoid those streams so nobody gets stuck or injured. And the cloud cover is going to reduce. It's going to be high cloud cover, almost 100%. So the thermal optics and NVGs are going to be hindered. And our recon optics might be hindered, but they rely on those recon optics so that they can ID us. So as the conditions worsen, it's going to favor us. And the high temperature and humidity are also going to hinder those optics, both on the enemy and friendly side. However, we're going to want to do our formations and patrols at night to avoid that heat, hydrate, rest, and hopefully we can push through to avoid the heat strokes. And then we're going to also need to just keep in mind that night operations are the best to maximize those cool temperatures, which will favor us. This is that enemy platoon situation. They have the 3 motorized squads. This one doing control in a village, occupying a village, and this is en route on an MSR, attempting to disrupt enemy forces to the northeast with that recon squad with a QBU 88 sniper, which is equivalent to our M10 sniper, and they're setting up a screen to ID U.S. forces to the north as we come down on the objective where the mortar team is disrupting enemy forces to the east. The CSK 141, like I said, is equivalent to our Striker. The QLG 10, which they're all going to have, is equivalent to an M320, and the QJY 88, which is with those CSK 141 motorized infantry teams squads, is equivalent to a 249 SAW. What's really needs to note here is their main effort is that mortar team, because that mortar team is providing indirect fires on objective Bobcat, where our battalion main effort is attempting to destroy in order to liberate southeast Torbia. So we have to facilitate disruption of that mortar team because they are going to be trying to hit our battalion main effort. Their recon squad is their supporting effort number 1, with their motorized infantry squads being those other supporting efforts just in case they need to come support that mortar team. Like I said, that mortar team is going to be up here, so most dangerous course of action for them would be if they can get up that hill to us. That's going to be dangerous for us because then they can get to us fast, and we know that we need to be decisive and quick on the objective. So most likely attack when they can least detect us at night and be really fast, well rehearsed, so that on the objective we can be in and out. The high targets, the HPTL and HVTL, are going to be that radio operator, so that they can't get comms between their different squads, and they can't get comms if they ID USF and they need that mortar team to send mortars out. And then that gunner, we're going to assume there's a gunner with that mortar team, so he's going to be an HVTL because HPTL rather, because we need to get rid of him in order to destroy that mortar team as fast as possible on the objective. And then over here is that mortar team. They have the PP 87 82mm mortar. They only have 1 to fire in support of objective Bobcat. That has a 5,790 meter range, which covers pretty much the whole AOI. And our US equivalent is that 81 millimeter mortar. Like I said, HVTL, radio operators, HVTL, radio operator, and the gunner. Their strength is that their enemy mortar team can shoot so far and hit that Bobcat, so we're really going to have to hit that hard. Their weakness is that their forces are dispersed throughout the AOI, and because that precipitation and the vegetation and the terrain is going to be just super nasty on the day on August 30th, they're less likely to respond to our disruption on the objective. This is an enemy SIPTEM showing that mortar range. We have the 3 motorized squads with their ranges of the QJZ 89's 1,600 meter range. The engagement area for us on objective Phantom, where that mortar team is located. If they need an exfil, they'll be exfilling to the south or possibly to the north via the roads. They're going to have to rely on those roads to get in and out of there just because of the rain that day. Concept sketch, what's going on in time and space. We have 2nd Squad just at the same time as us attacking to destroy Objective Reaper, and we're also going to have 3rd Squad attacking to suppress Objective Ghost, while us being the main effort is hitting Objective Phantom to destroy. This is really important because they are going to be overwhelmed by all the USF friendly forces, so they're going to be less likely to send reinforcements all to one location. However, it's important we expect reinforcements to come to Objective Phantom because that is their main effort in preventing USF from liberating southeast Torbia. Our 2 levels up intent being company. Charger Company is going to disrupt enemy forces in AO Ronin in order to influence the battalion main effort. They're going to do that by disrupting enemy operations in depth, hitting those high avenues of approach for the enemy, avoiding decisive engagements, and being able to reconsolidate our troops. Our platoon mission statement is to disrupt enemy forces in AO Ronin to deny enemy influence on battalion main effort, and we're going to do that by the platoon's going to do that by disrupting enemy operations in depth, denying uncontested high-speed avenues of approach, obtain maximum combat power, and avoiding decisive engagements. Thank you, that's all I have.